history and anthropology is a narrative. And what's interesting to me is how history changes,
as who's telling the story,
as that narrative evolves over time. Because to some extent, in an ideal situation, archaeology says, "Here's a thing. I found it here. This is what it's made out of," and then it stops. It presents just bits of data and facts, and then anthropology takes all of that bits of data and tries to weave a narrative, of what this thing is, what it was used for, who made it, and all of this. But that narrative is entirely dependent on the facts that they have, and humans need for things to make sense. So
even when they don't,
things get filled in, things get changed.
Sure.
And then as times change, the narrative has to change to make sense
or the facts change.
That
was when I was just watching earlier. If you got some more point,
but okay, so there's my personal favorite is Vikings and their horned helmets. Okay,
no such thing.
Well, here's the thing. Depending on your narrative, we can absolutely agree that there has never been found a single Viking Age helmet that had horns or mountings for horns. The problem with that story is that it's
one helmet.
Leaves out the fact that there is one. There's only ever been one helmet found that dates to the Viking Age. Just one. The Girambu helm from Norway. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So while the narrative that they didn't wear horned helmets is probably true, it's also horribly misleading because it ignores the fact that we have a sample size of one.
Right, but also keep in mind too that a lot of the imagery we got from the Vikings was handed over by the Christian church, and the one thing they wanted to do was put fucking horns on anybody that appeared to be bad or who was pagan, because they wanted to be. So again, there's a lot of editorial slant there.
But we know that horned helmets did exist in the Vendel period.
Yeah,
we know that horned helmets existed.
Years.
The Vendel period? No, the Vendel period.
That was 800, I guess. So yeah,
Vendel period predates, immediately precedes the Viking period. Yes, there's the migration period.
500 to 300.
Where there's plenty of horned helmets. You get people that'll go, you couldn't go into battle with all this crazy stuff on your helmet. Except for the Celts did.
Yeah, and
the samurai did. Lots of people went into battle with giant frickin' things on their helmets.
I mean, the Gauls also went into battle with giant fucking
They went into battle with all sorts of weird horn things,
the dog horns or whatever, the dragon horns.
We have Viking Age tapestries. The Oseberg tapestry clearly depicts dude wearing a horned helmet.
Yeah.
We see horned helmets in context. It's unclear as to what that dude is. Is that a representation of somebody? Is that is it ceremonial? Is it a chieftain? Is it a religious icon? What is this? Well, it's got guesswork, but to say flat out outright that they never wore a horned helmet, it's like we don't even. Based on the evidence, they never wore helmets.
You're not going to get me to say there never was,
right?
Because I'm so fucking sorry. The idea that there never was is ludicrous,
right?
And it's basic.
And that's kind of like going back to the Romans. It's documented though, but the centurions, part of their standard of battle was wearing a wolf pelt or a bear pelt. Because of, depending on whether they were Gallic or Italian, they would, and that's where the berserker also comes from, is the bearskarn, the bear pelts that, again, loosely, but it's a documentable
So yeah, the
They would the centurion, or not the centurion, but like the standard bearer would wear a wolf pelt on top of their armor as they bore the standard.
there's oh god, the berserk is like it's a clusterfuck because you have a variety of different
Cognates.
because on one hand, bear means bear, just the way that bear means bear, right? Like those
Yeah.
bear and bear, are we talking bear like rawr or bear as in naked? So when you say, berserk, bear shirt, does that mean that he's not wearing a shirt? Or does that mean he's wearing a bear hide? But then you have, depending on which, source you're going for, sometimes it's, they're biting their shield and going, into their, battle
Blood
rage,
rages,
and other times they're totally chill and just kind of a dick, and going into battle totally cool. So there's a plethora of hypotheses on what that was the bear pelt a mark of honor for a skilled warrior? Was it an exact cognate or another title for the Ulfendir, which is a whole nother the Wolf Guard, that's a whole nother cluster.
Suffice it to say that we don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And the possibility of us ever being able to nail it down to any
Unless we got a fucking TARDIS.
is just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
And
But that was-
so a lot of that again. You're especially for excuse me, the Viking mythology. You're largely looking at stuff written down by Icelanders,
Or Christian monks.
400 years after the fact, or Saxo Grammaticus writing to
brings you back to
the
the idea of the media being fucking dead because they've been spinning propaganda since what?
since forever. Yeah,
And that's so kind of in that vein too. Another one that I saw that was stuck with me that was kind of compelling. The idea, talking about the berserkers, the most chilling thing to see on the battlefield is an enemy who's dead silent, because when you're about to start a charge, you got to whip up your side. You got to give an inspiring speech. You're gonna hoot. You're gonna holler. You're gonna scream. You're gonna yell to get everybody energized to do the thing. The most terrifying thing is an opponent who is dead silent and professional and will let you come at them.
yeah, it was. God,
I think it was a Caesarian era
yeah, the
writer like Cicero or something like that. Yeah, just
The scariest guy I ever met in my entire life was about this tall, and he was this little guy, and I'm drunk and acting like a jackass at a party.
Yep.
And I go to shove past him, and he grabs me, and he looks at me, and he says, "It doesn't have to be this way."
Yep.
And I went,
Yeah. So when you got 10,000,
"I'm gonna step back here, and I'm gonna go."
Yeah. So when you got 10 or 20,000 of these dudes that are just like, really? Do you really want to
Do
do
you
this?
really want to come over here?
Like, you can scream at me all you want. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you really? And then there's, again, countless examples, because they were also, while the most well-trained, also the best equipped for the, -2 to the 3rd century.
What was that? What
Probably
was
the
that?
best equipped military in the Western world.
What was that Swiss group, the Landsneck? The Swiss pikemen from the Middle Ages, man.
Yeah, the Swiss Guard,
Yeah, those guys were just they were quiet.
Or
too.
are you talking about the Landscape?
landscape.
Yeah,
Swiss
I don't
Guard
really
is
work.
the Vatican elite.
But they were.
I just wasn't sure what
yeah.
he was.
They were amazing. I
Well,
read about
they
them.
were kind of. So Lands Connect again is not a contiguous. There
It's
was
not
kind
a
of a kind of an umbrella term for not even Swiss, like Germanic mercenaries. Yeah, because there's like the Swiss pikemen was a thing.
I love the pikemen.
There was
I love the pikemen. They were great.
the German Spyhounders that were a pike breaker unit because
They were.
yeah, and they got double pay because if you were on the front line. If you could make it through the front line and survive, you got double the money, and you could wear whatever the fuck ridiculous outfit you wanted to. It's basically like a fucking peacock with a giant sword, and if you can make it through 2 battles, you can retire for life, basically. But you got to make it through 2 battles,
Which is not a very easy thing to do in that era.
We got like a 50% survival rate.
Maybe. Somebody didn't shoot you with arrow when you weren't looking.
Well, yeah.
You know, a shit-covered arrow that somebody dipped in a fucking cesspool somewhere.
Well, yeah. It wouldn't even necessarily be a shit-covered area. You just stick it in the dirt. You know what I mean?
That's it, yeah.
The dirt will do enough because it's probably full of shit.
Pretty much. Given the fact that
My point is you didn't have to go out of your way to shit on it because
half the people at the Battle of Ancient Corp were walking around without pants because dysentery run rampant in the entire battle. So you have 80% of the French nobility on horseback, scorching their ass while they're riding
again,
around.
historically speaking, disease killed more troops than any battle. Ever.
Smallpox and Jesus killed more things than anything else in history.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah. Spanish flu did a number 2.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Spanish flu killed more people during the World War One than bullets.
Influenza was terrible too. Any variety of influenza has been bad.
Yep.
Subscribe. Check out the next episode.